Crystal quartz. Have we talked about crystal quartz yet? It's kind of the granddaddy, the go-to, the master healer. The mini within one, the prismatic, the rainbow, and apparently, I don't know if you have heard of the crystal skulls from ancient times, Mayan temples, and that sort of thing. But apparently Western Digital, I believe, or is it some other computer hard drive producing company, is actually experimenting with crystal quartz as a data storage device, because apparently you can fit potentially so much data within a quartz crystal that it would put to shame the hard drives that we use today, the memory in our computers. Actually, it's called hard drives, not memory. Memory is a different thing for anybody who's techie and nerdy. But what you store your photos on, what you store your programs on your computer, that's your hard drive. And we have pretty substantial hard drives compared to back in the day. Back in the day, we had a 200 megabyte hard drive, and that was top of the line. That was before the internet was around. That was back when I was getting into computers. Today we have, oh God, how am I going to do the mathematics? We have terabyte and 2 terabyte and 5 terabyte drives. A terabyte is, oh God, okay, so it used to be a 200 megabyte times 10, or sorry, let's say 100 megabyte drive times 10 would be 1 gigabyte. And then 100 megabytes times, 1 gigabyte, and then 1 gigabyte times 10 is obviously, 1 gigabyte times 10 is 1 gigabyte, 10 gigabytes times 100 is 100 gigabytes times 1,000. 1 gigabyte times 1,000 is a terabyte. And we have drives which are 2 and 3 terabytes now on average. So 100 megabytes times, 1 megabyte times 1,000 is a gigabyte, 1 gigabyte times 1,000 is a terabyte. And apparently, for as amazing as that is, apparently the structure of crystal quartz, should they figure out how to store data on quartz drives, would put to shame. I'm not too sure to what magnitude, but they would put to shame the data storage devices that we have today, which is interesting because, and perhaps I should have prefaced that rant on why this is interesting, because I probably lost most of my viewers at this point. But that is interesting because there's a lot of speculation about what the ancient crystal skulls were used for. By the way, if you guys like these crystal skulls, we do have them in the shop. You can check them out at spiritmagic.net. The link's in the description. But we've got crystal skulls of a variety of different types, etc., etc., etc. But the ancient crystal skulls were much larger, of course, like life-size or potentially even larger. And there are those who speculate that they may contain all of the world's information. All of the world's information recorded from all time. And that there is sort of a mystical but also technological device, perhaps created by, left by extraterrestrial beings, perhaps, or perhaps by ancient and more advanced civilizations. To us, it's speculated that some of these coveted and prized crystal skulls, and I think there are about 5 or 10 of them, I'm not too sure, but they may actually be data storage devices for ancient knowledge of, or extraterrestrial knowledge. Hard to say, who's to say, but the interesting thing is that quartz is in fact a data storage capable material. And it's a lot of other things too. It's an amplifier. It's used in radio transmissions, in the sending and receiving of the amplifying and sending of signal, and also in the receiving of signal. So if it is actually literally used in communications, in signal amplification and receiving, one really has to stop and think a little bit about, for those of you who may not believe in the power of gemstones, And honestly, I think a healthy degree of skepticism about anything is the only real, real sensible course of thought. But even for the most skeptical, I think that the way the quartz is used and the way that it is thought to be used in metaphysical healing and in sort of spiritual practices are kind of interestingly aligned with each other. I think it lends evidence to the metaphysical unseen realms perhaps being more than fantasy and fiction. Perhaps, what is the line from Shakespeare? Horatio, I knew him, something to that effect. I wish I knew that, because that would have been a cool little touch I could have dabbled in right there. It would have sounded super awesome, but I don't. So I didn't. Let's talk about quartz. Quartz starts with a Q, which is a letter after most other letters. If you want to find it alphabetically, look near the back. That is a tip, free tip from me to you. You can use that to find quartz in a gemstone Bible worth of gemstones. By the way, this is a great book, highly recommended. The Crystal Bible by Judy Hall. You can get that on Amazon. But yeah, free tip from me to you about looking up things alphabetically. MNPQRST, which applies, like I say, not only to gemstones, but also to other things in life. Anything you want to look up alphabetically follows a similar system of organization. A's in the beginning, Z's at the end. QRST. I'm having trouble finding Q. It's not as far back in the alphabet as I had thought it was going to be. It's actually kind of middle-endish. Quartz. Oh boy. Hope we don't get into quartz too much. So we got quartz, phantom quartz. Let's just do phantom quartz because that's kind of the clear crystal quartz variant that we're looking at here. Or is it? No. Here we go. We better just start with quartz. Quartz. Quartz is the most powerful healing and energy amplifier on the planet. Because of its unique helical spiral crystalline form, it's found worldwide. It's actually apparently the most abundant substance, I believe, on the entire planet. Not 100% sure of that, and if it's not, it's somewhere up there. But that's kind of an interesting fact, although a lot of it, I'm sure, is deep underground. Found worldwide, it absorbs, stores, releases, and regulates energy, and is excellent for unblocking it. When acupuncture needles are coated in quartz, the effects increase by 10%. 10% exactly, no more, no less. As demonstrated by a Carillion camera, holding a quartz crystal in your hand doubles your biomagnetic field. Oh, that's interesting. I've been wanting to try to figure out how to get one of those cameras set up. That would be so cool. Those are aura photography cameras, for those of you who don't know what a Carillion camera is, or in case I pronounce that wrong, one of those two things. Aura photographing camera. Anyway, it enhances muscle testing and protects against radiation. Quartz generates electromagnetism and dispels static electricity. This crystal works at a vibrational level attuned to the specific requirement of the person needing healing or undertaking spiritual work. It takes the energy to the most perfect state possible, going back to before the disease set in. It cleanses and enhances the organs and subtle bodies and acts as a deep soul cleanser, connecting the physical dimension with the mind. At a spiritual level, this crystal raises energy to the highest possible level. Containing every color possible, clear quartz works on all levels of being. Storing information like a natural computer, these crystals are a spiritual library waiting to be accessed. Quartz has the ability to dissolve karmic seeds, and it enhances psychic abilities and attunes you to your spiritual purpose. Used in meditation, quartz filters out distractions. Quartz is the most efficient receptor for programming. At a mental, well, that's right, like we were talking about before, about storing data on hard drives for our computers, basically electrical signals, right? So why is the mind so different? Why is the biomagnetic field so different than electric and transmitter signals of computer arrays, right? We're figuring out more and more as time goes on about what it means to be human, and it's getting more and more interesting. At a mental level, quartz aids concentration and unblocks memory. Quartz is a great energy saver. Attached to a fuel line in a car, a quartz point reduces fuel consumption. Now, I have no idea how that would work, but that would be very interesting to put into testing. Quartz have different facet shapes according to how fast they formed. These shapes are deeply significant. In healing, quartz is the master healer and can be used for any condition. It stimulates the immune system and brings the body into balance. It's excellent for soothing burns. Quartz harmonizes all the chakras and aligns the subtle bodies. And of course now they talk a bit about blue quartz, gold quartz, green quartz, harlequin quartz, lithium quartz, natural titanium, natural rainbow, tangerine quartz, and Tibetan quartz, which is very pretty stuff. Tibetan quartz. Actually just looking into some Tibetan quartz, trying to figure out if it was authentic, real Tibetan quartz or not. And I'm going to read about Tibetan quartz because I'm kind of interested about it. Tibetan quartz occurs in single and double terminators. That, I believe, means having a point on one or both ends. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think so. May have a black spot occlusions within it. It carries the resonance of Tibet and the esoteric knowledge that has existed there for so long. This knowledge can be attuned to when meditating with Tibetan quartz. This knowledge can be used instinctively in healing in spiritual practices. It accesses the Akashic record. This rarefied yet grounded quartz has a strongly centered energy that passes into the body and the personal self, bringing about deep healing and energizing the subtle bodies. Used on the physical body, it purifies and energizes all meridians. And they talk a little bit about angel aura quartz, which is actually heat-treated quartz, which gives it a very pretty sparkling effect, and they can do that in a variety of different colors, from sort of the angel pinks to dark blues to sort of metallic colors, but any sort of quartz which is termed as angel aura quartz has been heat-treated. It's a real stone, it comes from real quartz, but it's not natural. It's not 100% natural because it's gone through, like I say, that heating process. I believe they call it electroplating. It ends up really cool, and it has its own specific properties when you electroplate. And angel aura eyes quartz, phantom quartz, is one of the more interesting variations of quartz, in my opinion. It's a small white-ish colored ghost crystal that encompasses within the main clear crystal. So within a quartz crystal, you can sometimes see another little quartz crystal, which they call a phantom crystal. So it looks like there's a crystal within a crystal, and that is phantom quartz. And it is more rare than standard clear quartz, and actually quite a lot more expensive usually, but very, very cool. Very, very interesting stuff. We're not going to get into all the variants of quartz because I would be reading probably here for the next hour, but if you want to know all about the different variety of quartz, the Crystal Bible is a great book to consult. And if I get any of the particular variants of quartz, actually I should show you guys some quartz here before the light goes. So I've got this nice big piece right here, And this is a clear quartz with a lot of internal fracture. I think the internal fracture is really pretty myself. It makes the light catch from a variety of different angles when there is actually a little bit more light out instead of evening falls. And it kind of sparkles like rainbow depending on how you look at it. You could look at it from a dozen different angles and never find the same angle twice, so to speak. Here's a little quartz cluster hedgehog. Hello, my name is Chris. I am a crystal hedgehog. His name may also be Spike. I haven't decided. It could be one of those two things. Anyways, we got these guys actually on the site too. They're adorable. They require good homes, so adopt the crystal quartz hedgehog today. This here is a nice crystal quartz sphere used in fortune telling and psychic readings and all sorts of other good stuff like that. A couple of pieces of raw clear quartz are there, and there I believe is a more natural crystal, whereas this one is actually a cut crystal. This is not its original form and shape. It's actually been cut to that particular, but this one here is a rough natural point that is quite powerful in healing purposes and that sort of thing. That one here is a pyramid in shape of a pyramid cut from quartz. Very cool. Those are generators. Not quite generators, but those are used as though if they were generators. They're very neat. Oh, the little guys. We've got these little guys on the website as well, spiritmagic.net. So if you like the little pieces, I don't think we have any of the big pieces right now because they're kind of fragile to ship. But that's it. Crystal quartz, and then there's the little crystal quartz guy that I found whilst out at the beach the other day. It's really little, almost insignificant. No one would want him unless you found him yourself. Then it's like, oh, I found that one myself. It makes it way cooler. Anyway, if you guys like this video, leave a comment. Let me know what kind of crystals you want me to talk about next, etc. Subscribe to the channel, and yeah, see you next time.